All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. The main event here. A couple housekeeping things. Gonna be away for a few days, so enjoy this video, and then when I come back after a few days, maybe a week, I'll have more stuff for you guys. Second thing, we're close to 400, so if you're new, sub to your boy, help us out, leave a like. And third, Pokemon Unite comes out tomorrow, so let me know if you guys want to see some of that content on the channel, and let me know if you want to see me play like Nuzlocke and stuff down below. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So Intimidate is going to be very, very important in Series 10. Some people even believe it's like a must-have on your team. I've been playing some games like without it to see how it feels, and it is harder without it, admittedly. I can't even lie to you guys. So which Intimidator should you pick? So I'll go over some of the choices. Obviously, number one choice that most people default to, Incineroar. Fake Out, Parting Shot, Intimidate is like the holy grail of combo on that mod. You can't really go wrong. But what else can it do? It can stall for you to lower special attack. It can use Darkness Lariat to deal with those pesky Ghost Riders. It can use U-turn if you want to put an Assault Vest on it and not use the Parting Shot. Incineroar also has access to like Close Combat, Earthquake, and a plethora of other moves that you can use that might catch like people off guard. Even Darkness Lariat kind of catches people off guard still, because it's just not a move that it normally has been carrying, but it's been popping up a little bit more. Some items you can use on it, obviously Citrus Berry is common. Put that Citrus Berry on and get that consistent recovery. Aya Papa Berry is something else where it's a little bit less consistent, but you get more health back. Citrus is my preference. Assault Vest, like we mentioned before. Taunt Safety Goggles set, Fake Out, Taunt, Safety Goggles, deal with those Amoonguss, other sleep mons like Venusaur, etc. Overall, Incineroar is probably the best Intimidator. It just has so many tools, it eats so many hits, it's just so good. So if you don't want to use Incineroar, say you want to use something else, what can you use? I think the next choice would, in my opinion, should be Hitmontop. I think Hitmontop is a great choice because after it intimidates, it has a lot of other tools to use. It also has Fake Out, which is going to be really great in Series 10. Maybe I should do a video on Fake Out, so let me know if you want to see that. So yeah, Hitmontop has Fake Out and Intimidate, right? Two great things. Pure fighting type, so that helps cover some of his weaknesses, where it's weak to flying and it's weak to like Psychic and Fairy. But is that a big a deal when the only Fairy types that are really popping up right now is Xerneas, and I still use Feeny, a little bit of Coco, and the occasional Lily, and Max Airstream is also not in the game, so you're not really too worried about the flying type moves. Yeah, there's Brave Bird, but you're gonna intimidate any Brave Bird users except for like the Defiant ones. Do Weaving instead of Rob, but again, you'll intimidate those mons, so you can survive if you invest the right bulk. You get access to Wide Guard, so then what you can do with Wide Guard, obviously, is you can stop those spread moves, those Kyogres, those Calyrexes, even Xerneas if it goes for Dazzling Gleam instead of Moonblast. It also gets access to stuff like Mach Punch to give you some priority, Close Combat to do real big damage to stuff like Incineroar. It gets access to Sucker Punch. I've been using that a little bit, real cheeky move. It gets access to stuff like Triple Kick, Helping Hand if you want to add some more support, Feint. You would never use this in doubles, but Rapid Spin. You get a speed boost from it now. There's tons of moves that it has, and it has a lot of tools, and it's faster than Incineroar naturally. And it's the direct hits Incineroar for super effective, as where Incineroar does not hit it for super effective. So it's actually very good in that one-on-one matchup. So Hitmontop is a great choice. One of my preferred choices compared to a lot of the other Intimidators. Hitmontop, you can't go wrong with Hitmontop at all. Oh, and just to add before I get to the next pick, some items that I like to use are Red Card, Eject Button. Eject Button because if I get hit, I can switch out into what I need to. Red Card because I can force something out if I get hit that I want off the field. So those are some items that I like. Some people like Focus Sash to add some survivability. You can be very creative with Hitmontop, just like you can with Incineroar. Next up, we're gonna get into like Landorus. Landorus has always been one of the premier Intimidators in every format. Landorus obviously comes out ground flying type. Really, really strong Pokemon regardless of the ability, and the ability just makes it better. It can U-turn out really quickly. A lot of people like to run Scarf sets, Assault Vest sets, etc. It did lose access to Airstream, but Landorus was a menace to the Pokemon even before max airstream was a thing. And I can't think of any Pokemon that really chases it away from usage, right? Seeing as the new thing, but like even Zacian, it gets intimidated and it doesn't OHKO it in return after it's intimidated, I'm pretty sure. And then like your ground type moves do super effective damage back to Zacian. There's a plethora of steel types, Metagross, Solgaleo, Necrozma, Dustmane. So there's a lot of steel types that it deals with. It does do well against Incineroar as well because it has the rock slide move. It does well against like everything except obviously like water types and ice types. But it's a great choice. Not as many tools in my opinion as Hitmontop or Incineroar as like support mons, but lots of tools as an offensive mon. But I think it's better to have your Intimidator be something that can move in and out the game and do other things. Lando is just a better Pokemon, but I think the other two are better Intimidators. So I think that's a good distinction to have. So that's like the big three of Intimidate, right? So let's get into some more niche picks. So let's start with Arcanine. Arcanine's a really good choice. Hasn't seen any usage yet, which is strange to me. I think Arcanine can be a good choice. Obviously the fire typing is good because it resists Fairy. It resists the same things. It actually resists some of the stuff that Incineroar doesn't. For example, like Incineroar does not resist Fairy because it's half dark, but Arcanine does. So like if you run into a play rough Zacian, you'll end up resisting not only the play rough, but the Bohemian Blade as well. If you run into Xerneas, you resist Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast. And you can even mitigate that even further by adding the Assault Vest, which is a very good Arcanine item. Arcanine is a little bit more versatile offensively, where it doesn't have to be a physical attacker. It has a good special attack stat as well, so you can go with like a Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Heat Wave, whatever you kind of want set. So you can't be intimidated in return, just like Incineroar can. You do get access to Snarl, so Assault Vest with Snarl is also a great combo to help deal with those Calyrexes. It gets access to Flare Blitz if you do want a hard physical move. It gets access to Extreme Speed. Speaking of speed, it's also much faster than Incineroar. Arcanine's issue falls in the fact that it's just not as hard to kill, I think, in my opinion. Where like Arcanine doesn't have like the safe swaps as much with like Parting Shot or U-turn. It doesn't have Fake Out to like hit something that might be able to hit it for super effective. So like if you run into something in front of you, mine's like Tyranitar, where like Incineroar could Fake Out the T-Tar, and then depending on the speed, Parting Shot on it the next turn. It can play around stuff like that more. As to where Arcanine, if you bring it out in front of something like that, you have to swap it out even after the Intimidate, because you will still take like a lot of damage from the rock move. And then you can't really hit it back for anything very super effective or even like neutral for the most part. So it does have some limits that Incineroar doesn't have, but it fills holes that Incineroar doesn't as well. So it's kind of a thing that you can use. Overall, I think Arcanine can be a good pick for Series 10 if you want to go against the normal. Next, I want to talk about Gyarados. Gyarados is a great pick in my opinion. Yes, Regieleki is everywhere, but that's one Pokemon, and I don't feel like one Pokemon is ever enough to keep you from using something. But yeah, Gyarados is weak to Electric and it's weak to Rock, but unlike the stuff like Arcanine, Gyarados can actually hit those Rock type backs for a lot of damage because it's a Water type, has Water Stab, and Rocks are weak to it. So your biggest threat really is just the Electric types, and the only one around is Eleki. So if you can play around a Regieleki, which you can with like a Walk-On Berry and like special defense investment, you absolutely can. I've done it before. It's a great choice, man. It also gets stuff like Icy Wind. It gets Dark type moves if you want to use it to counter the Calyrexes. Especially like Calyrex Ice, where like you can intimidate it, resist the Glacial Lance. Well, it might actually be neutral, right? But neutral is better than like what a lot of mons take from that. And then if it's not too healthy, hit it back with something like a Crunch if you want, because you want to watch out for weakness policy stuff. Even in Series 10, people think weakness policy is dead. Weakness policy isn't dead. But you want to watch out for this stuff. But it can hit those things, right? It has more tools to hit more mons with. It can hit opposing water types with Power Whip. It gets moves like, I don't know if I said Icy Wind already. It gets Thunder Wave. It gets Taunt. Like, it has so many good moves. Then it's immune to ground, so like it absolutely negs ground types because ground types can't hit it, and then they can hit it with water stabs in return, which is something that Incineroar and Arcanine both can't do. So Gyarados is a great pick. If you want to use Gyarados, go for it, because I think it's a good mon for this format. Like I said, there are better mons, and Aleki is a problem. But if you're willing to play around with Aleki a little bit, I say go for Gyarados for sure. I only want to go over 2 more Pokemon in depth. And they are going to, I'm going to start with Salamance. Salamance can be a really good Intimidator. It's very fast. I believe it's the 2nd fastest Intimidator that we have. Probably the most offensive out of all the Intimidators, right? It's the most powerful by far. It gets dual wing beak, so it does get good physical flying stab. Gets a Dragon Claw. I think it gets Breaking Swipe as well. Breaking Swipe plus Intimidate is always tough to deal with. It just absolutely cripples opposing physical attackers, which makes Salamence a great choice in my opinion. Obviously it has a hard time with like Xerneas, and it'll have a hard time with, more so with Xerneas and less with Zacian, because Zacian often doesn't run the play rough, and you can run Earthquake or ground type moves on your Salamence to deal with that. It does not get access to Tailwind anymore. It does have Scary Face to lower the opponent's speed. It does have Dragon Tail, which knocks out an opponent's mind and brings something else in. Obviously, you can't use it against Zern because Zern's Fairy and it's not affected, but you can hit other setup mons out that are trying to Swords Dance up on you, or stuff that you just want off the field. So it does have some support, but it's mostly going to be offensive, like Dragon Dance, stuff like that, right? But I think overall, great choices here, Intimidator. So last Pokemon I want to get to is Taurus. Taurus is not something you're going to use mostly if your like goal is to consistently have the best mons out there. It's more of a fun pick, and it's something I just want to talk about. Taurus is the fastest Intimidator we have available, I believe. And it has some good moves. It has Scary Face to lower opponent's speed. It has Icy Wind to do the same thing. It has Helping Hand. And then it has like Wild Charge, High Horsepower, Double Edge, Giga Impact. Did I say Wild Charge? It has a lot of great physical attacking moves, so it can actually put out some damage. How much is its attack stat? It's about 100, I want to say. Yeah, it's 100. And it's 115 speed. So like 115, 100 attack is really good. You can do damage with that. You can Intimidate to keep its survivability up, and then like just use Icy Wind to lower the opponent's attack, lower the opponent's speed, so that one of your slower mons can start going in the direction it needs to go, which is forward. I don't know what I'm talking about there. But Taurus could be a very fun pick. And they're not, these mons I've gone over are not the only Intimidators in the format, obviously. There's a lot more that I'm not going to go over completely. I'll just like maybe post their pictures here or something. I don't mention those, like Scrafty. Is Mawile in this game? I think it is. Luxray, Crocodile, and Quillfish. You know, so there's a few other ones. So yeah, you guys can check those out and see if they do anything that you like. But I think the ones I went over are the best and most fun out of all of them for the most part. Debatable for like Crocodile for sure, because that's actually a really good Pokemon in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. What Intimidator are you gonna run if you're gonna run one? Which one do you think is the best? Otherwise, leave a like, subscribe if you're new again. Once again, we're close to 400. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.